What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony. Please tune in on Mondays at 6 p.m. for your entertainment purposes. We will hit current topics, old topics, and everything else in between. Be there or be square. Deuces, my loves. Hi, welcome to another great episode of the All Around. I am your gracious host, Dr. Anthony, and we have some amazing topics that we are going to discuss tonight. We do not have a guest present, but we have some on deck that will be joining us soon. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring out my producer, Mark Lee.
How are you doing today?
How are you?
Doing good. Everything's quiet. It's warm weather here in Durham, North Carolina. I don't know what it's like up there in the DC area, but it's been like in the 70s, high 60s. So spring might be happening early. I know that the whole conversation around groundhogs and all along those lines. And I did see a flock of birds that looked like they might have been confused as to whether they should be in town or out of town since it is early March, but we know that winter weather can still hit us and all along those lines. And of course, we had a number of events here at this center, including a symphony that was doing the music of Carmen and getting ready for the film festival coming up in about 3 days. So definitely a lot of things are going on here in the community as well. So always amazing things happening.
Of course. So yeah, we had some pretty decent weather here in the DMV. It was I still have on my outfit from earlier. I didn't wear like a major, coat or jacket or anything. Just my little pink vest and tights and a shirt, and it was pretty decent. I didn't have any issues. Didn't have to turn my heater on in my truck, so I was really, really pleased with the weather today.
Yep. Weather is doing well, cooperating. Like I said, we hope that it stays that way, even though there might be some rain or some other things that get impacted. I know that there's a big thing going on tomorrow because it does look like I believe Nikki Haley won in your area in DC, but there's a thing called Super Tuesday that'll be taking place tomorrow. So if folks didn't do early voting, they will be hitting North Carolina and a number of other states to see how these polls go and how the election turns out, even though it does look like it's going to be the rematch between Biden and Trump that many people are expecting, but not many people are excited about. But it does look like that's where we're headed and everything.
No, I mean, a lot of people are expecting the rematch between Biden and Trump, and nobody, I mean, younger folks are not really excited about the rematch between Biden and Trump, and everybody's trying to say that Biden mental capacity is not there. But what the hell you think you got with Trump? You know what I'm saying? This man has been, mocking people who have disabilities and things like that, does not give full answers, has already said that day one he's going to disrupt and he's going to start destroying the American democracy, and everybody that went after him for his wrongdoing, he is going to go after those people. And he has to understand, and most of these American people got to understand, that he is not above the law. And he has to face the piper, and he has to face the consequences. And we can take a look at the DA in Georgia. How they're trying to get her disqualified and things like that. But my thing is, you're trying to get a woman disqualified for having a consenting relationship with the man, but you allowed Brett Kavanaugh to sit on the Supreme Court after he was accused of sexually assaulting women, and you allowed Trump to be voted into the presidency after he stated that he grabbed women's by the pussies, and and they loved it, and he has sexual assault cases. So my thing is, you can't turn a blind eye when it comes to somebody else, but you support him with what he's doing. If you're gonna call a spade, you need to call a spade. If you're gonna say, we're going to be law and order, the party of law and order, you need to be the party of law and order. You can't pick and choose when you want to be the party of law and order. But we already know what they mean by the party of law and order, that they're going to go after the Black community, they're going to go after young Black males, they're going to go after people that don't align with their beliefs and their ideologies and things like that. So, my thing is, to the young people, y'all out here talking about Trump did this, Trump did this, Trump did that. Trump didn't do anything. We're gonna historically take it back to when the checks came out, when they sent out the first stimulus checks that had Trump's signature on it. Those first stimulus checks that went out, the people did get the money, but when you got your income taxes, you paid that money back. A stimulus check is to aid you into getting, money that is needed to help you. You don't have to pay that money back. Under President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they gave out stimulus checks, and the American people did not have to pay that money back. And a lot of American people don't understand the platform that Donald Trump has, that he changed the tax code. And so poor people, middle class people, upper middle class people are paying more in taxes, and the rich is getting richer and they're paying less in taxes. So it's about being fair and equitable and doing what's right. And, my thing with that is, they also want to say that President Biden didn't do anything. President Biden gave more money to Black businesses, more money to HBCUs, more money to people in the economy than President Trump has. Let's take the student loans, for example. Student loans. Do you know that the Republicans went behind closed doors and struck a deal with the conservative Supreme Court justices to strike down the bill when President Biden put it out there that he wanted to give the American people $20,000. So they went behind those closed doors. They had those shadow meetings or whatever, so that, the American people would not benefit. But, anytime it's one of those corporations like the airlines, the car industry, and those other industries that the same American money bailed out, you don't want it to bail out American people. You want the people to stay impoverished. You want the people to stay poor. You don't want the people to earn money and receive the residuals that they should be receiving. These are the things that the Republicans are doing. So when I hear people say that the Democrats have not done anything, I'm like, what rock have you been sleeping under? Where have you been? So do you want them to, go out and complete the applications for you? Do you want them to go out and, talk and communicate with the people at the unemployment office for you? Because all these programs, most of these programs are running through the unemployment office. We can take My Brother's Keeper, for example. When President Obama was in office, President Obama poured so much money into My Brother's Keeper for the Black community, for Black males, that it was unreal. And a lot of Black males did not utilize this program. They could have got free training. They could have got so much training in cybersecurity, coding, anything that they pretty much wanted training in. It ran through the unemployment office. But do you think they went out and they applied for this training? And all of it was free. All of it was free. All they had to do was just go to the unemployment office and apply for it. But yet and still, you hear young Black men and Black men saying that, oh, President Obama didn't do this and President Obama didn't do that. The Democrats didn't do this. The Democrats didn't do that. Like, what do you want? Do you want them to go and do these things for you? At some point, you have to take initiative and you have to do things on your own. You can't sit on your ass all day talking about somebody didn't do something for you when you took no initiative and when you didn't do anything. And I mean, that brings me to another point with, Trump trying to sucker and slander the young Black vote with, tennis shoes.
No, he was going to get to the tennis shoes and everything, but before we get to the tennis shoes, there was and sometimes she gets knocked and everything because sometimes people think she does not have leadership qualities. I don't necessarily agree with that, even though I do have issues with some of the things she did in California. But Kamala Harris was actually in town, meaning in my town of Durham, on the weekend, and she was actually giving some money to minorities in the technology field. So I wanted you to check this out and see what you think about this, because she was going
Hold on before we go there. So I still want to discuss the whole Trump situation before we switch to Vice President Kamala Harris or whatever. Do you have the videos for President Trump, the ex-president, disgraced president? That
I have a couple of them, including one about the sneakers, including his losses of the sneaker line. So we can check that out. And he also had something to say, speaking of North Carolina, about our current lieutenant governor who is running for governor, and he was comparing him, saying that he was like Martin Luther King on a steroid. So I have both of those, but let's check out this particular line around his sneakers and everything that I was able to find.
That's the real deal.
Former President Donald Trump at a traveling sneaker show event, SneakerCon, in Philadelphia Saturday, unveiling his Never Surrender high tops. A day after a New York judge ruled he'd have to surrender hundreds of millions of dollars for conning banks into favorable loan terms by inflating his assets, including his Trump Tower penthouse and Mar-a-Lago, exaggerating its value by as much as 2,300%.
It's a very sad day for, in my opinion, the country. A New York State judge just ruled that he's crooked as you can get.
Judge Arthur Engoron ordered Trump to pay more than $354 million. The former president was also banned from running a business or applying for loans in New York for 3 years. His sons, Don Jr. and Eric, were each fined $4 million and banned for 2 years. New York's Attorney General brought forward the civil lawsuit under a state law that allows her to prosecute fraud in business dealings.
The scale and the scope of Donald Trump's fraud is staggering. And so too is his ego and his belief that the rules do not apply to him.
This whole thing is very unfair.
The judge said of Trump and the other defendants, their complete lack of remorse borders on pathological. On Trump himself, who took the stand 2 times, the judge said his refusal to answer questions directly, or in some cases at all, severely compromised his credibility. Christian Benavides, CBS News, New York.
But this just goes to show you that, this man has people fooled, that he's, operating as if he's, some type of financial genius. Trump is not a financial genius. Everything that his hands has touched has been destroyed. Everything that he invested in has been destroyed. He paid millions of dollars for all these businesses and sold them for less than what he paid for them. And a lot of people are, even when we talked about on the couple of last shows, black men, and they're looking at Trump as a role model in terms of, business ventures and things like that. This man is no role model. And the sad thing about it is Trump has been in the system with the United States government, with the Department of Justice since the late 60s, early 70s, because he did not want black people to utilize his property, and he still does not care for black people, and he's pandering to black people like all black people does is wear tennis shoes and things like that, because the Fox News correspondent was like, oh yeah, he's going to resonate with the black community because black people wear tennis shoes. Everybody wears tennis shoes. Did he resonate with the other minorities?
Dr. Anthony,
you know what I'm saying?
Anthony, he also said something about this notion that the African American community could relate to him because of the fact that he has been quote unquote persecuted, and all along those lines, which I find to be very ludicrous.
But the thing about it is, he was basically trying to align the black community and liken them to being in the penal system. So that's what you think of black people, that we're all in the penal system, that we all have criminal records, that we all have a mugshot and things like that or whatever. No, we all don't have mugshot. Although I do, because I got one for fighting, when I was, younger or whatever. But, the felony charges that's against him are against him. And, what about the white folks? The white folks commit way more crimes than us. You know what I'm saying? But you call those white people fine citizens, when they were marching in Charlottesville and things like that, they were fine citizens because they were marching to support you. But, when it comes to, like blacks and, Latinos and brown skinned people or whatever, you want to say that you're likened to us because you have a mugshot, you have a criminal record. No, you're not likened to us because you have a mugshot and a criminal record. You're likened to the people that are supporting you. You're likened to those kind because they support the foolishness, and that's what they believe. That's not what we believe. And the thing about Fox News is trying to say that young blacks are supporting Trump. No, you have a handful of black people who are supporting Trump, but the most part, we are all supporting the Democratic Party like we always have been, and like we're always going to do. And you have people out there saying that we should stray away from the Democratic Party, like Charlemagne the God, like he's some type of guru in political science and warfare and things like that, and had the audacity to have him critique and criticize President Kamala Harris. Vice President Kamala Harris can run circles around Charlemagne the God. This is the same man that said he raped his wife. You know what I'm saying? So you got this man speaking for Black America. He does not speak for Black America. He does not speak for me. The ignorance that he is spewing out, he needs to keep that ignorance over there. Him, Killer Mike, You know, Ice Cube when he was supporting Trump, and you know, Chrisette Michele when she sang and we told her not to sing for Trump. They need to keep that over there. You know, we over here, we're keeping everything grounded. What's gonna save the day is these black women, like we always do, like we always save the day. Because you know, we have these black men that are out there thinking that they're equals to Trump. You know, like I said, you have to understand when you are being tolerated and when you are being accepted, because there's nowhere saying that you have been accepted. Hell, he doesn't even accept Tim Scott. And Tim Scott is, you know, one of the pansies in his party. He doesn't even accept him. And we've shown on this particular show how, you know, he didn't even want to shake Tim Scott's hand, and he avoided Tim Scott. But Tim Scott has been doing minstrel shows for Trump and things like that, trying to get, you know, the black vote, saying that, you know, America has never been a racist society. America has always been racist. America was built on the back of racism. America is still racist. And we're still going through, you know, racism and, you know, things of that nature. For example, here in DC, they have laws out here like the Black Codes. You know, people can't congregate and can't gather. If it's 2 to 3 or more, you're considered a gang. So they can put your name down as a gang member or a gang affiliation based off of you just having a conversation with people, although you may not be a gang member. So those goes back to, you know, historically goes back to the Black Codes. It goes back to Jim Crow, how that they used to say that Black people couldn't stand outside after dark. Black people couldn't walk, you know, couldn't walk on the train tracks. Black people couldn't do all these things. These are laws that are grounded in racism and has a historical past of being racist and detrimental to the black community. So, you know, when black people are out there saying that, you know, oh, Trump is for black people, he's for what? He's for your money. He's for the black vote. That's all he wants. He doesn't want to deal with you in that capacity. And when you have black people out here being a step and fetch and an Uncle Tom, I can't even say Uncle Tom, because Uncle Tom, the connotation of the negative connotation that the Uncle Tom has been misconstrued. So it's not even an Uncle Tom. They're step and fetch, and you know, like I said, minstrel shows. And I'm gonna stop right there, and I'm gonna give you a moment to speak.
No problem. I was actually going to give a reaction to one of the folks and everything, if I can get it up, because we actually had a reaction to one of the people about those sneakers and all along those lines. So it was actually from one of the folks that was going like, no, that's not really going to sway the vote. And it was actually from a athlete. So I'm going to let you check out what he had to say, because I actually agree with a lot of what he had to say and everything. And it's a short clip from Lou Williams and all in that space. So I can get it up, and if it's able to be played, we'll get that and hear folks' reactions to that, because definitely I think it was a valid point that he was bringing up and all along those lines. So we're going to see if we can't get it up and get it played and all in that way. So hold on one second. We're getting ready to get that up, and folks will hear from one of our folks as to a reaction to the Trump sneakers and all in that way from an athlete, no doubt. Yes, I think Lou Williams, I remember correctly, played basketball and all in that space. But if I'm incorrect, hopefully one of our listeners will correct me and let me know that. But it is a TMC reaction to the Trump sneaker. And like I said earlier, that gold trim and a couple of other things, I was not finding it appealing. But then again, I don't have that many sneakers, but I do have a few. But let's check out what Lou had to say.
Trump getting into the sneaker game, okay? I saw you made a post about it. There's some like kind of belief that it's like, are you saying he's kind of like trying to pander to African American voters?
You know, he's one of the greatest salesmen of all time. We've seen historically that he's been able to sell things. Unfortunately, it looked like he's doing it for the wrong reasons at this point.
Yeah.
You know, obviously some of his backers feel like he's selling the shoes in hopes to kind of get a more urban look and play to that crowd and that demographic of people. If that's your intention, I think you're in the wrong place. And I think you're a little misled on thinking how intelligent we are to see this coming a mile away. So they're not even dope. They're not really collectible. Obviously, some guys are going to do it when you got the hype beast and you got that community. Some guys are going to buy them. But listen, for the right reasons, leave them shoes alone. But at the end of the day, we're talking about sneakers opposed to the direction that our country is going to live in and where our kids and how our children are going to grow up in this world and the leadership that follows that. So if all it takes is some sneakers to get you to vote for this guy, so be it.
Last question, All-Star Game, how do you fix it? Everyone's like watching it like, you know.
Simple fix.
God damn.
Simple fix. For the All-Stars, listen, I'm 17 years pro. I understand when that weekend comes, that's an opportunity for you to relax, reset. For one quarter, give the fans what they came to see. Give them the greatest pickup game they've came to ever see. There's people traveling all over the world. It's kids that's never seen you guys play before. Just play harder.
Yeah, I saw that someone was playing Kobe clips where he's like dogging everybody, like playing real defense. We got to get back to that.
Yeah, Kobe was a different breed. You know, he was a different breed, and somebody has to step up and take ownership in that game and just decide they're going to set themselves apart from everybody else in the game. And what'll happen is everybody's competitive spirit will kick in, and you'll see a better game from them.
Well, we hope we can see that, man.
Absolutely.
And hey, much continued success to you.
Much
Enjoy that retirement, dog. Hey.
He retired, but he did not go into the game. He recognized what was going on and recognized it for the hustle that it is. And speaking of the hustles, I can just play one more before I get to Kamala. But I did mention that I found it an insult. I don't know how you feel about it, but you're going to compare a legend, and I'm not saying that legends can't have flaws, because we all know that Dr. King had flaws just like Malcolm X did, but you're going to say that he is Martin Luther King, meaning Mark Robinson, who has said some very insane things both about the LGBT community and a number of other communities, as well is MLK on steroids. So I want to play this clip, and then I want to hear your response to it and everything.
Yeah, before you roll the clip, the thing about it is this man has always shown who he is. This is not the first time that he said something out of the way and thinking that, we're just supposed to sit back and just accept that BS that he's saying. A couple of weeks ago, he was down in South Carolina talking about he was at some black convention or whatever, and it was nothing but white people in the audience or whatever. So where was the black people? Talking about he can't see nothing but black people out in the audience, because put some insane reason or whatever. But if this doesn't show you that this man is racist or whatever, I don't know what is. And for the people that's supporting the Republicans, they have already shown you their hand. They have already shown you what type of people they are. They have already shown you what type of politics that what type of politics that they're running. When Hillary Clinton was running or whatever, we tried to explain to people that this was a crucial year, that we needed a Democrat in office. This man put 3 conservative judges on the Supreme Court. They didn't come to play checkers. They came to play chess. And so what people fail to realize is the Supreme Court is the law of the land. Whatever they say goes. That's how he was overturn Roe versus Wade and get things done. And he's counting on things to go to the Supreme Court because he feels as if Clarence Thomas and the good old boys are going to support and do what they need to do or whatever. But my thing is, if y'all gonna call Fannie Williams out about the bullshit or whatever that you say is going on, then you need to call Clarence Thomas out because his wife had a hand in directly pointing to the insurrection that happened on January 6th. Or whatever, Jenny Thomas. She had a direct hand in doing that. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, you sitting over here talking about one thing in one capacity, but you're not addressing nothing in the other capacity. You know what I'm saying? Roll the clip.
Yep, we'll roll the clip, and I've got a question around that as well. But here's the clip.
What the hell? I watch all these guys, Mark, working out. They're working out. They can never top a forklift, right? I'd rather drive a forklift than lift this way. But he drove it, and he drove it well. But I guess he was complaining about taxes in his town, and he got up and he made a speech. And they didn't care too much about what he said. They just said, this is the greatest speaker we've ever heard. Would you like to run for lieutenant governor or something? And he ran. Look at him, he's laughing. He ran. And he's been an unbelievable lieutenant governor, Mark Robinson. I heard him, and by the way, his wife is much, much more lovely than he is. I can tell you that, and she's my friend. Thank you, darling, for being here. But, I heard him coming in on the plane. I was listening, and I said to the people on the plane, watch this. This is Martin Luther King on steroids, okay? Now, I told that to Mark. I said, I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King ×2. And he looked at me, and I wasn't sure, was he angry because that's a terrible thing to say, or was he complimented? I have never figured it out, but I'm telling you, he's one of, right? When I said that to you, you looked like, I don't know if I like that comment. You should like it, because you are outstanding, and you're going to be the next governor, so that's going to be very cool. Now, you know the fake news will go today, and they'll take that little statement that I make, that little cute statement, and they'll say, he said that this gentleman is better than Martin Luther King. This is a terrible thing. Is he a racist? It'll end up being... I don't care. It doesn't matter. Because the people get it. Mark, the people get it. Thank you, Mark. And that was a great speech you made, too, and I appreciate it very much.
Because you heard him, he said that is better than.
You know, that just goes back to the insane things that people allow this man to say. You know what I'm saying? And then he'll come back after somebody checks him. Oh, I didn't say that, but we have you on video and we heard you say what you said and things like that or whatever. Like, you know, we're just incompetent and we didn't hear, you know, what you said. But I fought the black people that are around because you're so wrapped up into trying to be, you know, accepted by these white folks that don't give a damn about you and the black community, that you allow these people to get away with murder and you allow these people to get away with whatever and just say whatever. Ain't no way in hell I would have stood there and you know, let this man talking about I'm Martin Luther King ×2, you know, on steroids and things like that. The look alone, when he said he looked at him in an incorrect manner, that should have given you Trump the indication that you said something inappropriate and out of the way. But you, who's running for governor, you did not put his ass in check. You know what I'm saying? So I fought these people for letting him get away with, you know, saying whatever the hell he wants to say. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you're not going to be accepted by these folks. They'll tolerate you, but you're not going to be accepted. The only thing they want is they're pandering for your votes and they're pandering for your support. After that happens, then you're just another black person to them, and you're just another black person on the street. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you know, when it comes down to any and everything, they talk about law and order and things like that. And they talk about, and black people got to understand, when they mean law and order, they mean that they don't want you in their neighborhoods. When they say make America great again, they want to go back to a time when your ass was treated poorly, when they had you enslaved, when they had you doing all this foolishness and things like that or whatever. And they want to go back to that time in America, talking about make America great again. When has America ever been great? Especially for minorities, black and brown people. You know what I'm saying? We're still going through the remnants of slavery. The stuff is so bad that it's embedded in our DNA. You know what I'm saying? Although they say that they did not participate in slavery, but you're the beneficiary of slavery. You're the beneficiary of white supremacy. Because we can take white women, for example. You know what I'm saying? With the feminist movement. You know, y'all talk about y'all feminists and things like that or whatever, yet and still you go out and vote against your own best interest. Then when they overturned Roe versus Wade and you thought, really, now it's affecting us? Oh, black women need to step up. No, we don't need to step up because you had an opportunity to do something and you didn't. You voted against your own best interest and you voted against ours. Mark?
No. Yeah, along those same lines and everything. By the way, there were some interviews with some Proud Boys that were over there in Michigan, and they actually made a very scary prediction, was that if Trump loses the election, there will be riots. As a matter of fact, they guaranteed it, and this was in an interview during the time that we were not on.
Then let it be riots, because what they fail to realize, we are not our ancestors. We're not going to sit back and we're not going to march peacefully. We're not going to take this shit lying down. You know what I'm saying? We are going to fight back. So you can come and let Trump get your ass whooped if you want to, and, you know, talking that big smack and talking that big shit, but we are going to handle our business, and that's just the bottom line. Roll a clip.
Yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of the clips, I didn't have that particular one and everything, but I will get that. But I did mention earlier, and I'm just going to roll this particular clip because it was a positive news since we talked about some of the negative things. But this is the clip from Kamala where she was talking about what she's going to do for the community and all along those lines. So let me play this one really quickly and then hear your thoughts around us having some money sent to our community, and particularly around Black Wall Street. So let's check this out.
On the Democratic side, Vice President Kamala Harris spent part of today in our state. WXI 12's Kara Peters attended her event in downtown Durham and brings us the vice president's message.
Vice President Kamala Harris announced $32 million is coming to help small businesses here in North Carolina. And she made that announcement where I'm standing here in the historic Black Wall Street district in downtown Durham, which ties into the purpose of these funds. These are federal funds by the American Rescue Plan coming through the Treasury Department's State Small Business Credit Initiative. This money will go to 10 women and minority-led venture capital firms to invest in their companies and build on their entrepreneurship.
And we are talking about clean energy companies. We are talking about AI. We are talking about technology companies in general.
Vice President Harris was joined by Deputy Secretary of the Treasury Wally Adeyemo and Governor Cooper.
To start a business, though, you need money. And there are a lot of smart people with great ideas and a work ethic who, with some capital investment, can start a successful business.
The Biden administration says this investment will bring in an additional $60 million in private investment, totaling more than $90 million to help grow small, underserved businesses in the state.
It is about meeting the capacity of communities with the resources that are necessary to strengthen our economy, and we all benefit.
And this is part of the administration's Investing in America tour. And we can't ignore the fact that this comes just days before Super Tuesday. In Durham, I'm Kara Peters for WXII 12 News.
Just really quickly, Dr. Anthony, one of the things I've heard is that people say that, and sometimes she's given thankless tasks like the border control and the border issues and everything. But I've heard a number of folks say that she does not have leadership qualities. And like I said, there are folks that were critical of her, particularly around criminal laws that existed in California. But as a neutral observer, one that's in DC, but has definitely watched her and her leadership capabilities, I just wanted your take on Kamala, because Biden is getting older, and there's no doubt, just like everybody, we're all getting older, that there might be a case where he, even if he wins, steps down and she winds up being the leader in charge. I just wanted your take on Kamala Harris, because I've heard a number of people, including some allies, that said that she does not have the leadership capability.
How are they, I mean, what is their precipice? What are they basing this off of? You know what I'm saying? She's playing her role. She's vice president. She's not president. She can't overstep her boundaries, and she can't step into the presidency. You know what I'm saying? So she's doing what the vice president does, and that's what the vice president does: go out and support what the president needs her to do. That's her role. She's playing her role. She's staying in her lane. And like I said, a lot of people need to understand how the government works, and things like that. We have three branches of the government. We have the judicial, the legislative, and the executive branch of the government, and she is playing what in her role of what she needs to play. You know what I'm saying? These people need to go back and take some free enterprise civics and free enterprise classes and learn about the role of the vice president and that in what she is actually doing. She can't overstep her boundaries. She can't overstep and take over the presidency, because that's not what happens. You know what I'm saying? It's a process. That's why we have a democracy. That's why we have things in place. That's why we have rules in place and things like that. So for them to even say, are they even qualified to say that she doesn't have leadership qualities? You know what I'm saying? Are they even qualified to even critique her? Because this lady has a long resume that can run circles around a whole bunch of people. And as far as her criminal history, criminal justice history in California, this woman did what she needed to do. What people fail to realize is they need to stop, trying to make the person that's holding people accountable the enemy, and listen and figure out what really happened in those capacities. This woman actually prosecuted Black men, and as she was prosecuting Black men, this woman also implemented programs to try to keep Black men out of the penal system. That's the things that they don't talk about, but that all they want to do is talk about her record of prosecuting Black men and criminals and things like that. Well, when are you going to tell the Black men that was out there committing the crimes not to be out there committing the damn crimes? Because if you're out there committing the crimes, then you need to be out there paying the time. You know what I'm saying? And even when the crime bill came out, was the crime bill perfect? No, the crime bill was not perfect. Did it serve its purpose? Yes, it served its purpose. Did the crime bill get innocent people caught up? Yes, it did get innocent people caught up. And then a lot of these people who are talking about the crime bill and talking about things that they have no clue about don't even know why the crime bill was instituted and put in place. Hell, right here in DC, you couldn't even walk out your front door without bullets flying, past your head in certain areas, in certain capacities. And even now, we're going through a state in DC where there has been an influx of robberies, people getting robbed, people getting killed for their cars, senators that got robbed, one of Trump persons just got killed, in a dang old robbery and things like that. So when are we going to start holding the criminals accountable? When are we going to start, even in Chicago, and the crime bill was implemented by not only President Biden, it was implemented by Jesse Jackson, everybody had a hand in that crime bill, but they always want to say President Joe Biden. So my thing is, with that, are we to the point where people can't change and people don't evolve as they grow older? Because we've all made mistakes. We've all done things to make mistakes. When you see a perfect person, point them out. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is perfect. But what we can account for and what we can atone for at this present point in time is that this man is making strides and he's doing things that President Obama was not allowed to do, because they tried to personally sabotage President Obama because of the color of his skin. So my thing is, yes.
Along those same lines and everything, because I did see an interesting article. You're going to love this one because we're talking about what's going on with the Trump camp and everything. But apparently the BBC reported recently that Donald Trump supporters have been creating, speaking of AI, and sharing generated AI fake images of black voters to encourage African Americans to vote Republican. So the BBC discovered dozens of deep fakes between black people as supporting the former president.
Right, they did that the last time. Trump does not have the black support that the people are trying to put it out there that he has. You do have, your diehard, black people who wants to, so-called profess that I'm a Republican, this, that, and other. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the everyday black American, black citizen like myself, like my hairstylist who's here with me, who's about to, get in his head and finish up and things like that. We're talking about the everyday people. And what people fail to realize is when people are polled, you got to understand who is being polled. They only poll 1,000 people. Mm-hmm. And when you're looking at the end sample, you have to look at who is the sample. Where are you getting your sample size from? And a lot of people don't understand that. And a lot of people that are being sampled are already Trump supporters, are already Republican supporters. They're not polling people like me, because you already know a person like me who is going to be polled is going to tell it like it is and let them know that hell no, we're not voting Republican, and we're not going that way, because that's the wrong way. And at the end of the day, we want to be standing on the right side of history. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, they're trying to do all these devious tactics and all these devious things to try to, manipulate the vote, to try to manipulate black people, because Trump knows that he needs the black vote to win the presidency, which he is not going to get. You know what I'm saying? You may have, a handful, like I said, a few black people that's out there that's supporting this man or whatever. But for the most part, the majority of the black people are not supporting this man, because we already know what is at stake and what is, what is the end game and the end result. And like I said, when Hillary Clinton was running, they want to say, oh, she did this, she did that. Everything that this woman said about this man, he did. Everything that this woman said that, the ties with Russia and things like that, he was involved in. And, people going out to the voting polls, writing in Harambe, their votes couldn't even be counted. And then they threw a ringer in the thing, the Green Party with the lady that was running for the Green Party to divert votes away. Yeah, to divert votes away from Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and things like that. So my thing is, you would rather a dumbass man instead of a smart, intelligent ass woman who could have taken this country to the next level and things like that or whatever. But you let a dumbass man who wanted to overturn Roe versus Wade and who wanted to dismantle the democracy get in the leadership power, and he's already said on the first day in office that he is going to start dismantling the democracy that we know true to be evident today. You know what I'm saying? Y'all think it's all fun and games that Putin is over there doing whatever, and y'all talk about y'all support Putin and y'all support this. So when the stuff starts happening over here in America, what's gonna happen then when you start really feeling oppressed, when you start really having your rights and things taken away, when you start really having to to speak up and well, actually you won't be able to speak up because the Russian people can't even speak against him. And that's the type of regime that Trump wants. He does not want people to be able to have an opinion. He does not want people to be able to have a voice. Do you know that they're attacking peaceful protesters? They're attacking people that go against the grain and things like that or whatever. So y'all can allow this man to go back into office if you want to, but it's going to be a sad day for America if he ever goes back into office. This man This man pretty much sold out American secrets to Putin. He pretty much sold out American secrets to other countries, and this has already been corroborated and stated by the intelligence community, because they had to, you know, take countermeasures where he didn't even get all of the full briefings and things like that, because they were worried that he would run his mouth and he would tell American secrets. So you want a person.
You got another victory earlier today, because apparently he won the case against Colorado, so they did have to put him back on the ballot in Colorado. So the Supreme Court, which he has the majority of in terms of conservative judges.
And again, that goes back to, you know, they're playing chess and we're playing checkers, because he is counting on that. He's counting on that to be part of how he gets, you know, back into the presidency and things like that. But my thing is, how is it that, you know, you say that states can have certain rights when it comes to women's rights and abortion and things like that, but then when it comes to taking his ass off the ballots, the states can't take him off the ballots? You know, it's either one way or the other. Either the states can do whatever they need to do, or, you know, you're gonna let the Supreme Court run amok and do what they do. So you can't have it both ways, where the states can have certain powers and certain capacities, but when it comes to his ass, they don't have the power to, you know, shut him down and take him off. So, you know, people got to understand how they're manipulating the system and how they're playing and things like that or whatever. But, you know, like I said, people don't read, they don't understand. This man has already told America who he is and what he stands for and things like that. And if y'all allow him to get back into the presidency, then whatever happens to your ass needs to happen to your ass.
Speaking of which and everything, I was going to bring up another article because it actually dealt with sisters and how they are doing. And I'm sure you'll have some opinions on this article and all along those lines, but it's an article that I'll read and everything in case the script is too long. But Regina Lawless hit a professional high at age 40, becoming the first director of diversity and inclusion for Instagram. So actually that social media outlet. But after her husband died suddenly in 2021, she pondered whether she had neglected her personal life and what it means for a Black woman to succeed in the corporate world. This inspired her venture, Bossy and Blissful, a collective for Black female executives to commiserate and coach each other on how to deal with misogyny and misogyny experienced by African-American women or being the only person of color in the C-suite. So I'm now determined to help other women, particularly women of color and Black women, to see that we don't have to sacrifice ourselves for success. We can find places to create our own spaces where we can be successful and thrive, is what Lawless said, who is based in Oakland, California. So it's one that has been involved in a number of things in terms of education and corporation. I just wanted your take on this notion of misogyny. And by the way, it looks like Megan Thee Stallion is exposing misogyny as well, because apparently there's a trial in a shooting that involved Megan Thee Stallion, and they're saying that it exposes misogyny in some of the way that is being treated. I just wanted your take about this notion of misogyny, because the article's headline was Black women struggle to find their ways in a job world where diversity is under attack.
Well, the thing is, diversity is under attack. You know, we saw it at Harvard. We're seeing it at other companies, and you know, we're seeing it across the nation, where, you know, companies are getting rid of their diversity positions and things like that or whatever. So it is under attack. And as far as, you know, she is concerned, we already tried this. We had the Me Too movement. The white women took it over. Now, you know, they're shutting Black women out of it. So we've already tried this. You know what I'm saying? So again, it goes back to, you know, that feminist mindset. They do what they want to do. They support what they want to support. You know what I'm saying? So we, as a Black female and as a Black woman that has worked in corporate America and things like that or whatever, we have never been supported. We've always been looked at as the outcast. We've always been looked at as combative. Even when we are talking and we're speaking when it's supposed to be safe spaces, we're looked at as, you know, the loud, the boisterous one, the dominant one. But, you know, that's just one side of us. We're not.
No, Dr. Anthony, that's actually one of the things that the article talked about, because the article talks about how African-American women looking to climb the corporate ladder face a more hostile landscape than ever, aside from having to constantly prove themselves and talk in a manner that can't be labeled as angry or emotional.
And that's my point.
Managerial positions doesn't stop the double dilemma of racial and gender pay gaps, because there are definitely pay gaps that are.
And that's my point exactly. We are always going to be viewed in that capacity, no matter how soft we speak, no matter what we do. We're always going to be viewed in that capacity. This is nothing new. They've already done this. That we've been talking about this. That's how we got termed the angry Black woman, because they try to shut down our voices. They don't want us to speak. They don't want us to say anything. They don't want us to have clout. And the thing about it is, they use Black men to get their dirty work done, because the Black men are out there supporting all this nonsense and all this foolishness about how loud Black women are, about how Black women are not soft, about all of these things and these traits and characteristics that they're terming us as, without even looking at the nature in which we had to become all of these things, without even looking at the nature in which they supported and they pushed this up on us and things like that. And now we're being held to a different standard. We are the only group of women that is held to a different standard than any other group of women. The same traits and qualities that we have as Black women, other women have, and they possess, and they replicate us. But guess what happens? Oh, they're jazzy, they're sassy. I like her sassiness, I like her feistiness, I like this. But for a Black woman, oh, you too loud, you're too manly, you're too masculine, you're too this. You know what I'm saying? So we are never going to be in a place where we can fully have reign over, just being who we are, without, some type of criticism. Because if you take historically, if you look at all these things, we have always been judged based off of the color of our skin and how we speak and how we look and how we act. When we go into white space, when we go into white spaces and we don't engage with white people, and we sit there quiet and we're introverted. Oh, she doesn't like us. She doesn't like the job. We just can't sit there and be ourselves. If we speak, oh, she's too loud. She's too this. So they always have this notion, and they always have these ideas, and always try to term us as what they think we are, instead of really getting to know us to find out who we really are. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, to the white community, to white women, stop trying to cosplay Black women. Stop trying to tell us what we need to do. Stop trying to tell us who we are as people. We already got this under control. You're trying to be us, we're not trying to be you. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of folks trying to be folks and everything, there was a lot of hoopla. I'm gonna come back to sports because I know you follow sports and a number of other things. But there was a young athlete. I'm not knocking her. She is apparently an amazing athlete and everything. But she got all this accolades this past weekend because she shattered the record of Pistol Pete and all along those lines, and all in that space. But she is also the one that had gone against Angel Reese. So as of now, she doesn't have a championship, and who knows, she might not have a championship this year, but who knows what Iowa will do. But a lot of people were all excited about Caitlin Clark because she managed to break this record, and apparently she did it in the times that there was a lot of African-American women that were doing great even before her, and that were WNBA stars. And I'm not saying that she'll make it as the WNBA star, but maybe she will. I'm just wondering your take on all this hype and hoopla around Caitlin Clark.
Exactly, hype and hoopla. You know what I'm saying? Another white woman that they're, putting on a pedestal and things like that. I'm not taking anything away from her, but again, they hyped her up and made her into what they perceive that she's in. And the same people that were giving her praises and accolades are the same people that talk negative and down in Angel Reese, and saying that calling her all kind of derogatory names and, things like that or whatever. So you got your Caitlin Clark. She made her record, hoopla, whatever, blase. Another white girl that they, putting on a pedestal and things like that or whatever. So, she can do whatever she does. But, in terms of me, I don't jump through hoops and things like that for white women. And to be honest, any other race, if it's not a black woman or anything like that or whatever, my excitement stands muted, and it stands neutral and things like that.
Along those same lines, because I talked to a friend of mine. He was actually here for the symphony, and he is a self-avowed Marxist and everything. And I know sometimes people knock people for being Black nationalists, and I definitely have some things that are my own viewpoints that might be considered nationalistic, even though I'm not saying all my viewpoints are in that realm. But I was just wondering your take on those labels, because sometimes people will take a label like Black nationalism or a label like Marxism and see it as a negative. Whereas I think that, in my view, a lot of these things can have positive attributes, and that they're things that we can even explore. Not saying we have to explore all Marxism values, and just like we don't have to explore all capitalism values or even all nationalism values, whether it be Black nationalism or other types of nationalism that exist as well. But I just wanted your take on how sometimes people will self-identify. Like I said, my friend Rand, who is a Duke professor and is in part of the European culture, he is a self-avowed Marxist. He doesn't knock the fact that that's part of his background, and he doesn't hide from it either. But I just wanted your take, because definitely in this show, I've definitely heard you take, and even our other host that has been away from us for a while talked about some of your radical viewpoints, but I can have some radical viewpoints as well. So I just wanted your take on these labels and whether they should be used or not used, or whether we just take people and their overall viewpoints, because you can be a Black nationalist.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is my viewpoints aren't radical. They're facts. They're truth. You know what I'm saying? So, anytime you speak out against the grain, that's what you're termed. You're labeled an extremist. And, they have a group of people at the FBI office who watch Black people and term us as, extremists and things like that. When we speak out against racism, when we speak out against, what we're going through, what we're experiencing and things like that, we are labeled extremists. We're the only group of people who are expected to support everybody else, but when it comes down to supporting ourselves and each other, they have a problem with it. We're the only group of people that cannot peacefully gather without people having complications and issues and things like that or whatever. We're the only group of people that they want us to participate with what they got going on, but they don't want us to support our fellow Black man and our fellow Black woman. Take for example, with Sanaa, when she helped this homeless man and things like that, they had a problem with her helping him because they so-called quote unquote said that he attacked a white woman. We don't know if he attacked that white woman. We saw a video. We don't know if that's him in the video. You know what I'm saying? She was asleep. She don't know if that was that man or not. And I'm not condoning attacking women or whatever, but I'm just saying, you're gonna keep a spade, and that's the pot calling the kettle black and things like that or whatever. But when people have strong viewpoints and things like that, we are termed and we are labeled in a negative, in a derogatory manner, and things like that. And like I said, my viewpoints are radical. They're just the truth. Everything that I say and everything that I speak about is on the internet, is out there. I have read it someplace. I have saw it in some type of journaling and things like that or whatever. Am I bringing it to my audience? Yes, I am bringing it to my audience. Will people think I am a radical or an extremist? Yes, they probably will, because I support my people and I want my people to survive and things like that. And like I keep telling everybody, every time I do the show, at the end of the day, I am a Black woman. And I am going to support Black initiatives. I'm not going to put nobody above my people and support their things before I support a Black initiative. And that's just the bottom line. And that's just how it goes. It goes, even with, like Black Wall Street, how they're, trying to put money into, Black Wall Street. We are going to support Black initiatives. And that's just the thing. White people have benefited off of destroying Black communities. They destroyed Black Wall Street. They destroyed Black towns. For example, the popular Central Park that was, created in the middle of New York. That was a whole Black, Seneca Village was a whole Black community. They destroyed that Black community to make Central Park. It's other places that they destroyed so that white people can have, property, and white people went in and burned down Black people property and things like that. But you don't hear them calling them extremists. You don't hear them talking about the KKK and the Proud Boys and things like that in the capacity and in the manner in which they refer to Black people. And that is what I have a problem with. So no, my views are not radical. My views are speaking the truth, and it's holding people accountable. So how can in one capacity you say that we're doing X, Y, and Z, but in the other capacity you're saying that Dr. Anthony is radical and she's this and she's that? I'm not radical. I'm just speaking the truth. And if the truth hurts, then the truth hurt. And like the old adage goes, a hit dog will holler. And that's just the end of it. A hit dog will holler. So we have to stop being afraid to speak the truth and speak our truth. We have to stand up on what we believe in and things like that. We have to face uncomfortable situations. We have to have uncomfortable conversations. We have to put these things out there, because if we don't tell our truth, and if we don't stand on our business and stand on what we believe to be true, then it's a bunch of hoopla that's going to happen. It's a bunch of hoopla that's going to take place. It's a bunch of false narratives that's going to take place, because we can look at it in the history books. There are a bunch of false narratives in the history books, how they're trying to teach children that Black people wasn't enslaved, how they came over here as basically indentured servitude. You know what I'm saying? So, we have to cause good trouble, such as John Lewis. Like he said, we have to cause good trouble. We have to be in a position to, stand on our own and to stand up for our own. And that's just the bottom line. And like I said before, I'm not a feminist. I've never professed to be a feminist and things like that, because, with the whole white notion and white women, they support what the hell they want to support. When we said, come out and support us, they didn't want to support us. When Roe versus Wade was overturned and things like that, Black women need to do this, Black women need to do that. Even when, Israel went into Palestine and they were fighting the Palestinians and things like that. What did the white people come out and say? What did the Jews say? Oh, Black people need to come out and they need to do this. Black people need to support this. Black people need to do that, because we don't understand this and we don't understand that. No, we understand perfectly what's going on. And like I've said before, we are not anti-Semitic. We're not anti-Jew. We're anti-bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So you got to come correct when you're coming with us, because we are not our ancestors. We're not gonna take this thing laying down. We're not gonna take this thing lightly. We're gonna come out swinging. We're going to do what we need to do in order to survive, and in order to make sure that we continue to teach our offspring our history, and let them know where we come from, and let them know the real truth behind everything, and not the watered down truth that they're getting inside of public education and inside of watered down textbooks that has been put out there and things like that or whatever. So no, we're not doing that. And we're going to stand, and we're going to continue to fight, and I'm going to continue to say my piece, and I'm going to continue to speak the truth. And that's the bottom line. And if you think it's radical, that's on you. I can't make you understand, and I can't make you believe the truth or whatever. But at the end of the day, all I can do is speak the truth. Now, what your comprehension level is, and if what you perceive, that's not my problem, because I can't make you understand. Mark.
Yep, I hear you. And by the way, we only got a few more minutes to go, and all along those lines. So I was actually going to say that sometimes it is good to see a fun moment. So I'm going to have a lighthearted moment now, if that's okay with you and everything, because my brother had his group that was doing their ride in their slingshot. So if you don't mind, I'm going to play their quick commercial and then hear your thoughts about these kind of recreational vehicles, if that's okay with you, just to give a little bit of a break in our serious discussion.
Go ahead, roll the clip.
Cool. But by the way, that's that Slingshot Club that they are part of it, and all along those lines and everything. And that being said, sometimes we do some recreational things. As a matter of fact, there are some pictures of the Bull City Riders, which is a motorcycle club here. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there have been the Ebony Riders, which is a women's motorcycle club. I think they still exist. Like I said, my brother is co-president of the Bull City Slingers, and I also know some people that I think the name of them is the Trail Riders. That's a horseback group. And all along those lines. So I was just wondering, because I don't even know that about you, even though I know a lot about you, Dr. Anthony, if there are any recreational hobbies that you get involved in, because I know that there are some of those that even come out of New Orleans and all along those lines. As we get ready to wrap up the show, I didn't know if there was any of those recreational hobbies that some of our folks get involved in that are things that you get involved in as well.
Now, I'm not really the one to be on, like the slingshots and the motorcycles and things like that, because, that's just out there in like open terrain and things like that, and a lot of people have lost their lives on motorcycles and those bikes and things like that, and I don't want to be one of them. But to each his own. Whatever, you know, other people like does not mean that I have to like it and things like that. Now, do I like looking at them? Yes, I like watching them and things like that. My cousin has one. I actually rode his and things of that nature. But as far as me just going out and, you know, purchasing one, that's not something that I would do personally. And, you know, like I said, to each his own and things like that or whatever, because I'm not into, you know, like extreme sports and extreme, you know, recreation and stuff like that. Now I will take a trip. I will go to the beach. You know, that's what I do. But as far as, you know, anything else like that or whatever, I'm not into the, you know, the extreme sports.
No, I got you, but you will definitely go on a trip in a heartbeat. And I know we're going to get out the door. I thought we had some great discussion today, but definitely I do know you love your trips, and I need to get on some more trips because I have liked them in the past and only went on one cruise, even though I need to go on many more. But I do know that you are the trip queen, and I need to start hanging out with you and your folks because I need to start doing some more trips myself because I am a fan of the trips, but have not had a chance to make enough of them myself yet. So maybe I got to start hanging out with you and your crew so that I can get into some of these exciting trips. You know, I was talking to somebody about skiing, and they were thinking that Black folks, and they were being a little bit facetious, don't ski. And I was going like, there's entire Black ski groups. So you can't say that we don't ski. It's just that some of us choose not to. And some of us are afraid of that ice and the fall and everything. But hey, we do have brothers and sisters that live in Denver and some of those snow places. So they are part of some of those ski groups. So I do know that there are Black ski groups, just like there are Black hiking groups. As a matter of fact, I know of one that's based here in Durham, but I think they have officers in Raleigh, in DC and Virginia and everything else. So there are a number of things that folks can get involved in if they are interested, that are of interest in all along those lines. But yeah, I've got to start getting a little bit more outside myself, including checking out some of these groups and everything. And like I said, hey, Dr. Anthony, we've got to figure out some way that you can get me into some of the notion of getting outside.
Well, I'm not really an outside person, Mark, but I will go to the beach and things like that or whatever. I like to be inside a lot, you know, but like I said, to each his own, whatever make their boats float, you know, I'm good with it. You know, I'm not, you know, into that nature walking and all that stuff. I have allergies, so I try to stay away from, you know, trees and, you know, all that stuff because I'm allergic to all of that pollen, you know, dust and things like that. It's just not friendly to me. So I can't, you know, be out there like, you know, everybody else and things like that or whatever. But, you know, the clock on the wall says that's all. You know, we had another great, amazing show. Make sure you guys click, like, and share. We want to get those views up and things like that. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel, the All Around and stuff like that. We're still broadcasted in over 20 countries, spoken in, you know, over 20 different languages and that nature. And so hopefully we will have some guests coming on pretty soon, but if not, you know, Dr. Anthony is still going to handle her own. Mark is still going to try to tame me and things like that or whatever, but you know, we're going to still be here to discuss, and I hope you guys come out and join us again on next Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But you know, the clock on the wall says that's all, and we have to go.
Yeah, clock on the wall says it's time to get on out of here. So we're about to be out of here. Who knows? Maybe I'll find a way to sneak Dr. Anthony down into the film festival. That's what I'll be doing during the weekend and all along those lines. But it's always fun to see films, and we'll actually have Omar Shorty, the actors, will be doing an actors workshop and all along those lines. So I have to keep coming either on Friday or Saturday. Who knows? Maybe I'll find a way to get down here. But it should be fun. But I'll be reporting on that on next Monday when we come back, and I would have met Omar as well as some of the other folks at that time. But it's always fun talking to you. Always good to have these conversations. I look forward to seeing you again next Monday.
Next Monday. Deuces, my loves.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony. Please tune in on Mondays at 6 p.m. for your entertainment purposes. We will hit current topics, old topics, and everything else in between. Be there or be square. Deuces, my loves.